people are gone and forgotten. But a few stories linger on. The story I'm going to tell you tonight is documented. These stories, it's a series of stories actually, that take place in this area. And the last time was 2004. The first one is 1863, before the Civil War was over. Civil War was 1860 to 1865, roughly. A lady, back then it was horse and buggy, and they didn't have paved roads, and they used Indian trails and animal trails and so on to go. One of those trails used trails that was paved over, and that road is real windy and so on. It's Shipley Hollow Road, and it crosses the bridge down here. And that bridge, steel span, is an old, there used to be an old mill, water mill there. And it's called the Mill Bridge. If y'all need to move out of that fire, move. And in early years, a lady was traveling with two kids, young kids, in a wagon. She was coming up Shipley Hollow Road, as the story goes. And then it got deathly quiet. And then a large black, looked like a cat, perhaps, came out and jumped onto the wagon, and the horse scared and bolted, which means the horse did this. Came up, and when he came up like this, he reared and he turned the wagon up and turned the wagon over and killed the lady. Two kids were snatched and never seen again. People were very concerned about this. Well, back then, when you needed a doctor, the doctor came to your house. You didn't go to the doctor very much. The doctor came to your house. And Dr. Downey, I think was the name, was traveling one night to a patient's house. And he too was further up Shipley Hollow Road. And something jumped out and jumped onto his horse. And his horse bolted. And as his horse came down, he held on. And the horse threw him. And the horse ran off screaming. And he went up the road by himself, feeling something behind him, hearing the sounds of something moving. Like a cat would walk, a large cat. And he ran and he got to this one house. He ran inside and he said something was after him, so and so and so and so. He spent the night and did whatever he needed to do. They found his horse. All the skin on the horse had been peeled off. The horse lay dead, almost dead, and as its heart beat, the caked blood cracked and spewed, and the horse, the last breath, died. This scared people. This really scared people. And people started looking at night over here, and they came out, and they would hear nothing. And then that quick, something would jump, and it would scare, and then back off. You would feel the hot breath, something darker than the wood. Time went by. As time went on, others quickly found, and even to this day they say, that as you come along Shipley Hollow Road, best you do all you need to do in the daytime. Don't be walking or riding a bike in that area at night. Car allows you protection. Well, not exactly. The boys were swimming one night, or one afternoon late, down at the mill dam, right at that bridge. And they came up out of the water, and they started up the road, going this direction towards us here. And all of a sudden, like a cat or like something following. This was a dirt road. I remember when these roads were dirt. Pit-pat, pit-pat, pit-pat. And they looked back and they saw something, large black thing, coming toward them. Needless to say, exit stage left. They run up and run into somebody's house. And they spent the night there. Stories of this persisted off and on. The years went by. The time was in the 1950s. 50 something, I don't remember when. Some of the kids that went to Sale Creek High School had been to a football game. And this girl was taking two of her cousins home in a car, a 53 Chevy as I understand the story. But anyway, got to that bridge and looked over, and there were two large green eyes boringly looking right at you, deep, deep, deep. They stepped on the pedal and got the hell out of there in a hurry. And as they got out and they left, they never went back over that bridge again at night. Other instances took place. Long after that, people had kind of forgot. And then some of the LCs, there's an LC Ridge and LC Road up here. Some of the LCs were coming up this road. And the car broke down. And they were looking under the hood. And they looked, here, coming, look. And it kept coming and it kept coming. And they didn't know what to do. So they jumped in the car and this thing hit the car and it just engulfed it. It snarled and slobber coming off onto the car, onto the windows and drooling down. And you could see what looked like giant paws coming to the windows and then backing off. Backing off. Backing off. Pit-pat, 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 pit-pat. And disappeared. They were scared to get out of the car till morning. Somebody came along and found them. And two of them were dead. Yes, of fright. Shot. The one that was not had lost her man and never recovered. She told just vague instances, little stories, or part of what happened that night. And that's what I'm sharing with you. I keep hearing something. The time goes by. One night, just past the Mill Bridge, the car's coming along, and slam! Something jumps off of that little bank on the right-hand side, comes down and hits this car real hard right in the side. And this was in 1960 something, or 1970. I forgot, 67 or something like that. Anyway, comes down and hits the car real hard. And like, oh my God, whatever that thing is, animal that hit that, got to be dead. But they didn't have a flashlight or anything, so they went up to the house down the road, they knew the people, got flashlights and came back up and looked for blood, hair, and so on. There's nothing on the car. They looked right where it happened, and there's no signs of any animal coming through the woods, no tracks, no pushed down bushes, no crushed, no nothing. Totally nothing. Ian, it doesn't look like you're paying attention even if you know it. Totally nothing. They looked and they found nothing. There was an eerie feeling in the forest. In 2007, the most convincing thing that happened, and a writer of stories and things that happened in this area thought a lot of this was just people's imagination. But this was a story that even he gave credence to. Now these guys that were hunting in the swamp over there, and they were parked before daylight. They had walkie-talkies, they were deer hunting. So one gets up in a deer stand, one's further down in a deer stand, and they're talking back and forth. And the first one says, listen, I hear the deer, they're moving. And the second one says, it's too early in the day, it's too early. There's not enough light, they don't move this time. He says, I'm telling you, I hear them coming. I hear them. And then the radios go completely static. No more communication. And then shortly thereafter, Matt, and shortly thereafter, look, coming, blacker than the woods, moving toward him. He's in the deer stand. He's absolutely petrified. He's never seen anything like this as it comes. And he sits perfectly still. And he feels a warm breath. And he feels his body slide by the backside of his tree. And then it went down. And it disappears. He is scared. Now this is a police inspector from Florida, fire department, I think. And so he got to asking around up here and found out who wrote The Ghost of East Tennessee and about Pitty-Pat, and got the book and so forth and so on. Well, anyway, long and short of it is that this man was too convincing for it not to be something. It's spread out. It's much further now than just where it was. They say you don't want to be in Shipley Cemetery at night. Anybody. I'm not particularly interested in going. And that you may hear it in the woods at night up here. Once in the swamp, coming in late at night one night, I stopped to get out to open the second gate and turn the motor on. A friend of mine was already up here at the cabin, and I had a gun with me. We were duck hunting, and I came in at night. You ever get the feeling there's something there? You know it's there, and I looked, and I looked, and I looked, and I thought I heard something. I got in the car, came through, shut the gate, and came on down to the cabin. I got my buddy, and we got our guns, loaded them up, and went back up there. There was nothing. That swamp's called Booger Man Hollow, because when TVA was making the lake, they planted some ash up in there, and they said it was a spooky place, and they called it Booger Man Swamp. A few nights ago, I was up here with some friends, and we stopped and turned the lights off right there, and it was pretty spooky. I've never seen Pitty-Pat, but the people that have told me these stories and the books that I've read, they believe it. They know it.